This episode of the QA is brought to you by Lucky Shot. It is the end of the month, which means it is time for the QA, and it is the end of May 2021 edition. Thank you guys very much for checking out this episode of the QA. My name is Dave Tim from Guns and Tactics. I do appreciate you not just sending in your questions, but also spending a few minutes of your day checking out the series. And for those of you guys that don't know, this is our monthly series. At the end of the month, we answer your questions. The best way to get your questions on the show is to email us. That email address is shown below, theqa@gunsandtactics.com. Send us your questions. One lucky prize winner is awarded at the end of every episode. So all you have to do is send a question in, and as long as it's not like a super obvious lame question, like what's your favorite color or something like that, which by the way is gray and neon green, so that one's out. But all you have to do is send a question, it makes it on the show, and then you get a chance to win. Now, before we get into the questions, which we don't have a ton of this month, we only have 6, it is also Memorial Day. And many people associate Memorial Day, not you the viewers, you guys are good and you understand this, but maybe somebody else that might be stumbling across this. Many people just think that Memorial Day is the start of summer, or as some of our politicians have recently tweeted, sadly, a long weekend. And that, quite frankly, is frustrating. Memorial Day is a very sad day for many. Memorial Day is the day that we honor, and we should be thankful for the people who gave their lives fighting for our great country. This is the one day, it's not Veterans Day. Veterans Day is to thank those who are serving and those who have served, and we are very thankful for those veterans. But today isn't for every veteran. Today is for the veterans who didn't make it home. Today is for the people who made the ultimate sacrifice serving our country, whether it be domestically or abroad, in all sorts of different conflicts. And whether you agree or disagree with certain politics or whatever, the reality is those families, those loved ones, are no longer with us. And this is a very sombering day for many, many people. And while other people are out enjoying the long weekend, many people are realizing that they don't have a mom or dad, a son or daughter, a brother or sister, a husband or wife. And we need to remember what Memorial Day is really about. So please, no matter where you are, take a moment. Take a moment to remember those who have served. And this may be someone that you served with. This may be a parent. This may be a relative, a family, a loved one that isn't coming back. And for your loss, I am sorry, but I am thankful that we have such a great country where people volunteer to serve and protect our country to make our country truly the greatest country in the world. So that is my speech on Memorial Day. I hope that the holiday weekend does find you safe. And if you are grieving the loss of a loved one, I hope you find some sort of peace and you can reflect on the positive memories. Let's do a little comment cleanup. We are going to read and just check in on some of the comments. Bob, again, thank you very much for the wonderful gift. And I'm not having a Fanta right now because I actually just got off work, and I'm hopefully going to be going to bed here pretty soon after I edit this video. But I do really appreciate the pineapple Fanta gift that you came in with last month. So that was awesome. View at your own risk did reply that his local Ace does carry the screw blocks, which is honestly where I think I did get mine. So check your local Ace Hardware in the gun screws section. Trevor checking in, thank you. We also have Art talking about his gun belt. Rusty Taylor gives us the thumbs up. And then some of the people did comment that Black Aces Tactical does make a left-handed, left-size discharge bullpup 12-gauge shotgun. So there is that. Again, thank you to the amazing viewers to kind of helping out. We had a question last month about a bullpup shotgun. And Jory Humphreys, Fanta does not make antifreeze. Pineapple Fanta is the best beverage, period. Actually, I think I'm going to make a patch. I think I'm going to make some sort of a patch about that. But anyways, that's another topic. John gave me a nice compliment about the weight loss. I do appreciate it, man. It's been a struggle. It still is. The pandemic pounds from last year are still with me, so I'm working on losing some of those, but it is definitely a struggle. And then Jackson did reply. He was considering the 13-inch MCMR, which we talked about a little bit, and you could certainly mill it down, and you could do that. Otherwise, Midwest Industries makes a great rail as well. So just some options. Let's get right to the questions. This first one is from You didn't say your name, so I don't want to say your email address, but what do you think of M Pro 7 gun cleaner and gun oil, and do you like rail covers, and what would you recommend for M-LOK rail covers? First off, I have nothing against M Pro 7. It works just fine. I generally still use Slip 2000 stuff. Now, full disclosure, when I was teaching Far More Active, Slip did sponsor my training classes. They would send us chemicals and products to use, and they would also send out like a trial pack of a free sample to give out to all of our students. But they didn't pay me. I wasn't that cool enough to be on their payroll or anything, but it was a product that I believed in and I liked their stuff. So if you were buying stuff, right now, the stuff that I personally buy is either from Slip 2000 or from Bortec for my precision rifle stuff. Otherwise, Slip 2000 cleaners, their copper solvents, their carbon killer, their lubricants, that's still what I use, but the M Pro 7 stuff is just fine too. I used that stuff for a long time before Slip, so nothing wrong with that. And do I like rail covers? Yeah, I do. I think especially with some of the slimmer M-LOK rails that we're getting now, the Bravo company or the Geisley rails that just kind of clip into the M-LOK little, pockets, I guess you could, M-LOK sockets. I'm not sure what the technical term is for the, anyways, the M-LOK section. I do like the rail covers. It just helps with the heat, gives you a little bit of extra traction, so I think it's definitely a good thing. Right now, the ones that I'm using the most of are the Bravo company M-LOK or the Geisley ones, just depending on the profile of your rail. So great question there. Number 2, this one is a long one. This is from Kevin. And Kevin, maybe we should connect because I'm kind of curious if you are in Canada and you talk about like ITAR and stuff that, so maybe we should talk and see if we can maybe talk about training or whatever more. His question, and he has a few, his main question, and then like you typed a few paragraphs, which is awesome. I love engaging kind of this stuff. But would it be possible to show the reasons for one particular pistol red dot zero distance versus another based on ballistics, height over bore, etc.? And then we kind of talk about, how it's a little tougher for non-law enforcement to get into that law enforcement training circle, which I do agree there is. However, there are other instructors that have done it, so it's definitely not impossible. And then we get into, we cannot run a class where equipment does not fall off a pistol or AR. Yes, totally. Every single class I go to, I always tell people at the beginning, we're going to have something that comes loose or falls off, and no one believes me, and then sure enough, boom, we have red dots fall off, red dots loosen up, sights fall off, whatever. And the last class that I did, where was I? Nebraska? Yeah, believe my last one was in Nebraska. I've actually had about a month off from teaching, which has been, not gonna lie, been pretty nice just to kind of spend some more time at family. But we had stuff loosen up, fall off, whatever as well. Evidence from our classes shows that maybe 2% of students or armors are following proper rules with thread locking, torque, etc. Very few know about Loctite medium strength, or MS, 222. The only Loctite for screws that are used in sights. Yes. So in my class, I do cover an armor section where we talk about proper thread locking, torque, tools, things like that. Degreasing is also incredibly important. And I also linked all that videos and stuff in the last video. But when it comes to distance, yes, and he kind of makes some points on why there are arguments back and forth. Here's what I personally believe in. I believe in a 10-yard zero for handgun red dot, confirm at 25 or greater distance depending on what's for you. And then he also talked about like a target. And actually I did design my own target. It's a 10-yard zero target. Maybe I'll do a video on zeroing. I have one that actually has been getting a good amount of views, but I think it's time to kind of update that with how to zero your red dot and kind of get into a little bit of the why. And why I chose 10 yards is, so far I've chronographed about half dozen popular law enforcement duty loads. Shot them with a Glock 17 just as a standard through the chronograph to get some basic data. I know my sight over bore with that particular gun, and then I started just to run it in the ballistics calculator just like I would if it was a precision rifle, and I found that the 10-yard zero, the point of impact, point of aim change to 25 yards was less than an inch in all of those different loads, Hornady and federal loads. I believe I had 2 Hornady and at least 3 federal, so maybe it's only 5, but I try to get different law enforcement duty loads when I go to classes and if it's something new, but most LE guys are carrying the same handful of loads. But I found that it's a 1-inch difference, 10-yard zero, 25 point of impact. Most shooters, the vast shooters cannot hold 1 inch of accuracy difference at 25 yards with a handgun. Let's just be honest, can't do it. So 10-yard zero, confirm at 25, make any adjustments, but the reality is the points that he made, yes, most people aren't good enough shooters at 25 to hold it. There's very few people that can shoot on a B8 a 90 or higher, let's be honest. Every now and again, you'll have some really good shooters post. I know Bill Blowers just posted on some of his social media outlets that he got a 110X, which is smoking, absolutely smoking. Something that I would love to do someday. I can't do that. So there are, there's very few shooters that can really hold that. Now, we can get into it in more detail, but if you guys have questions about zero distance, that's when you actually zero your dot for point of aim, point of impact. Again, in my classes, I teach 10 yards. It's easy to bring back to their agencies. It's easy to confirm, and again, it's not an issue out to 25 yards and even more. So the data is there. We can do maybe do a focused video on that. I think that's a good idea. So yeah, that's a great question. Thank you very much, Kevin, for that. Number 3. This is from Jamie. While I've been a volunteer instructor for the Boy Scouts in the past, I've hesitated on taking paid gigs, mostly because he loves volunteering and it's more of a hobby than the cash. What was your key driver to being an instructor, and what do you feel is the biggest motivation that others turn it into a profession? And then he kind of just had a couple little comments and actually said that he was on vacation and found pineapple Fanta and actually sent me a photo from his vacation with a Fanta, which I won't share, he said, just for me. But and Jamie, I believe I do remember meeting you at TriggerCon, what was that, 2017 or 18? So hopefully when TriggerCon kicks back up, I'll head back out to the West Coast and maybe we can cross paths again. My biggest key driver was just, I've always had a passion for learning, and I've always had a passion for trying to share that. And that's literally what it is. I've had a passion for trying to teach and share knowledge, and I've been very fortunate to be in the right place at the right time, ready for certain opportunities that presented themselves that allowed not only a door to open, but me to step through that door and be ready to face the challenges inside that new room. I'm big on analogies, so I apologize, but I just like it, and it excites me. It excites me when I go to a class, especially right now that I'm doing instructor level classes. It's just kind of a new challenge, but I love going there and meeting the guys and gals who are going to take that knowledge back to their agencies. And for me, knowing that I'm influencing those people, but then also the people that they're teaching, just even excites me even more. So I am pretty excited about that. That was probably my key driver, is just to help people do better. Whether when I was doing open enrollment courses and stuff locally, or hosting classes, I just wanted to see people get better. I wanted to see people, really improve and just take that next level in their performance. And if I was able to help them do that, that's what made me excited. And I'm excited now, is that not only am I trying to make people better shooters and understand their equipment, but I'm also trying to make them better instructors. And that's kind of an area that I'm really, really passionate about, because sadly I've been to a lot of different classes. Some instructors are better than others. I've been to instructor classes. Again, some are better than others. Some aren't really instructor classes at all, but they just put the name on the certificate as instructor this class. But there's not a lot of classes that really got into how to teach or how to diagnose, or hey, when you're teaching this, this is what you're going to look for. And that's what I really strive to do in my classes. So that's what I'm really just loving. So that was my thing. Take the plunge, man. Just get into it. Start out with something that you feel super confident in, because obviously confidence is a big part of teaching. But start with something basic, whether it be an intro handgun course, beginner handgun, whatever you want to call it, but start with something basic. And then seeing those students have those light bulb moments of like, hey, what really clicks for them, and they start to improve, that's what the reward is. So if you can make a little extra money, that's great. I do it to supplement my income right now, and I enjoy it. So, but the travel sucks. The travel just sucks. I don't know how else to describe it. I don't like the traveling at all. So just don't like it. Question number 4, and actually I lied, there actually are 7 questions. I had one that I forgot to flag, but now I've got it in there, so don't worry, you're in. Anyways, I've had an AR for quite some time, looking to upgrade the handguard. My question is, with the different types of attachments to the barrel nut, it seems to me that a slip and fall situation by either dropping the weapon or doing swimming, put the extended handguard put on the barrel nut might break the rifle or render it usable. Have you ever had this happen to you or happening to somebody? No, pretty much every handguard out there right now is attaching to the barrel nut in some way, shape, or form. Now, it usually is going to be an aftermarket barrel nut that is a little bit longer, so you have more clamping surface. Yes, there are some monolithic upper receivers, which means the handguard and upper are machined out of one piece. Mega used to make one, LMT makes one, Voltor makes one, and LMT has the patent on it right now. So there are some options there where it's all one piece, but those are cool. Otherwise, there are options like the JP, their SCI-20. It has basically a threaded portion on the receiver that the handguard threads onto. I actually ordered one of those, so it should be here this summer. We'll probably do a video on that, of course, but that's a really rugged, cool system that offers a little bit more rigidity. But yes, technically, that clamping surface is, I don't want to call it the weak link, but it is, you know, you're taking a 12 to 15 inch handguard that you're putting stuff on and you're clamping, you know, it with a 1 to 2 inch surface area of clamping contact. So yeah, you could have some leverage. However, I know a lot of people who have taken some falls, been hard on their rifles or whatever, and it has not broken the rifle. Now, depending on the rail, if you put too much stress on it, can it affect impact a little bit? And actually, we tried to recreate this with, I can't remember what kind of brand rail it was, but it was super flexy. But anyways, we put the sling on the very end and we were pulling on it, and sure enough, we could get it to change point of impact a little bit. It wasn't huge enough to like say that you're gonna miss your target completely, but it did make a difference. So just get a solid rail. There are great companies making rails right now. JP makes their M-Lock rail. Geisley makes one. Midwest Industries, Bravo Company. Those are the main ones that I use for extended handguards, and they serve me very, very well. So I would say stick to one of those brands and you're gonna do just fine. In fact, you can check out some videos. If you go to the Midwest Industries webpage, you can see videos there. I do all their install videos. So again, disclosure, I do have Midwest Industries as a video client, but they make really, really good stuff. I've done a video on the JP M-Lock. You can check that out up there. And then Geisley makes good rails, as does Bravo Company again. So those are all great options. They're very robust, and if installed properly, they'll give you great service. You're not gonna have any worries. So don't worry about that. All right, number 5, pinned gas block. This one is from RS. Recently built a new 16-inch upper. The barrel comes pre-drilled for their pinned gas block, which uses set screws as well. After I secure the gas block with set screws and the included roll pin, should I also do something to stake the roll pin in place? No. Once the roll pin is in place, it uses basically a spring. So that roll pin has a slot cut into it, and when you push that roll pin in, it will compress, and then that'll want to spring back out, holding itself in place. So if it's already pre-drilled for a roll pin or a coil pin, which is what Geisley uses, or even a taper pin, you don't need to stake that pin in place. That pin will hold tension, and with the set screws, you can even use some high temp thread locker on the set screws. You're going to be just fine. And do appreciate the kind words. Thanks for the great content. Value your vast knowledge and professionalism. I'm a true asset to the firearms community. Well, wow. If that isn't enough to make a guy's head explode, I don't know what is, but I don't want to make my ego any bigger than it is. I've been told I have a larger than life personality at times. I don't know. I'm just a small town street cop who has a passion, again, for sharing knowledge, and I'm happy to do it with you guys. So very cool. All right, this one is from Mitch. Are you aware of any stock system that allows for the use of an AR-10 style magazine with a bolt action rifle? So the answer is, for the Remington 700, I'm not aware of any bottom metal that takes the AR-10 SR25 type mags. Mossberg is the only company that I'm aware of with their, I think it's like the, MVP series, that takes an AR style mag, and that is mainly due to the bolt design. The bolt lugs on a Remington 700 bolt are different than obviously an AR-10 or a large frame AR, so therefore the magazines aren't easily compatible as much as you think they would be. Now, I always thought it'd be really cool as well is to find a bottom metal that would take SR25 or the same mags that I use in my AR-308s into my bolt action guns, and we're just not there. So the Accuracy International standard is what I run in my bolt guns, and then the PMag SR25 or the AR-308 is what I run in my Midwest and my JP AR-308s or 6.5 Creedmoor type guns. So yeah, there's nothing simple. If you want to stick to a Remington 700, just go with the AI. And honestly, I don't know what Ruger American is doing as far as their magazines, but if you're going to do a Remington or a clone or something like that, just pick up the AI type mags. I don't know how the Mossbergs shoot. If it's really that important to you that you get that AR-10 mag, the Mossberg is the only option. And like I said, I don't know how well they shoot. I haven't shot one, but that's our only option. And last, but certainly not least, Have you done any research on the 6.8 black round that Q is developing? Curious what my thoughts are. This is from Ryan. No, I have not. Here's my deal right now. I am a little hesitant to take on new rounds. I'm trying to actually streamline the amount of calibers that I have to buy. And as we are going through this ammo shortage crisis right now, which if you're watching this in the future, this is May 2021, and ammo is pretty tough to get in a wide variety of calibers because of demand and COVID and whatever other reasons there are. But I'm trying to streamline. So basically I have 308, well 6.5 Creedmoor for precision. I have a 300 Win for like hunting, 308, 300 Blackout, 223, and then I still do have an AK-74 that shoots 5.45. So those are pretty much my main staple rifle rounds, and I really don't want to add another round to that unless it does something really cool. Now, I almost jumped on the 224 Valkyrie, and then that kind of had some issues. I am still debating about the 6mm ARC. Seems pretty cool. The 6.8s, the 6.5s, the 6.8 black, again, it definitely has some promise. I think it's way too early for me to say, yes, go 6.8 black or not. But basically what it is it's going to be a round that is designed for suppressed use. And it uses a 6.8 diameter bullet versus like a 300 black, which is a 7.62. So velocities can obviously be a little different. But I haven't seen it in person. I haven't even talked to anybody that shot it. I just have heard a little bit of rumblings about it. And then you actually kind of reminded me to kind of revisit some of that. But it'll be interesting to see what comes up. It'll be interesting to see what kind of factory support there is, what companies are going to come out with factory rounds for it, what barrels are going to be available, all that stuff. So, and I think we're just way too early to know much more, but that's kind of where I'm at. But I look forward to seeing what happens with it. Obviously, that's the cool thing is when new stuff comes out, it could be the next big thing, but it's going to take some time to really develop and get that stronghold in the industry. Now, before we give away our prize, I do have to give a shout out to Lucky Shot. We do thank them for sponsoring this episode of the QA. And what's cool about Lucky Shot is they carry all sorts of unique glassware and gift items for either yourself or the shooting enthusiast in your life. So if you know somebody who's into either just cool gifts, something unique, or a firearms enthusiast that would appreciate something to have a fine beverage in, then check out Lucky Shot. And don't be afraid to use the coupon code that we're going to show on screen to save yourself a little bit of money when you're ordering for yourself or that special person in your life. Lucky Shot carries all sorts of really cool stuff that is going to be sure to be a good conversation piece or a great gift coming up for graduations, dads, or hey, let's be honest, just because. Again, use the coupon code shown on screen, save yourself a little bit of money. Thanks again to Lucky Shot for sponsoring this episode of the QA. They are providing the prize, which we will mail out. Speaking of which, I'm going to go ahead and put the rules up on the screen now. Pause them if you would like to read them. But basically, it just says, no crying, whining, fussing, or mussing. Be nice. Check out the rules. And now, let's give away our lucky prize, thanks to Lucky Shot. All right, we had 7 questions. Let's go ahead and generate our random number, which is number 2. Question number 2 was... Kevin, you are the winner. We will be in touch with you to get your shipping information and get a prize thanks to Lucky Shot. Again, if you want to see your question on the show, the best way is to email us. The email address is shown on the screen below. That is the QA@gunsandtactics.com. Send us your questions. Do our best to get it on the show. As always, I sincerely do appreciate you watching. Got some cool videos coming up. I know Rex is working on some night vision stuff. I got some night vision stuff coming up. More precision rifle stuff in the works. So we're just trying to keep growing and doing better and better content. And again, if you guys have any requests, don't be afraid to drop them in the comment section below. Send us questions, all that stuff. We definitely like to make content that you want to watch as well. Thank you guys very much for watching, and have a great day. We work really hard to make content that we hope you as a shooter would enjoy. Subscribe to our channel, check out our featured videos and playlists, and if you have a question firearms related, go ahead and send an email to the address shown on the screen to be entered into our monthly QA series.